There is an old story about a man named Li Wei, a humble villager who lived in ancient China. He was quiet, unremarkable, and often overlooked by those around him. In his village, men boasted of their knowledge, debated philosophy, and sought recognition for their intelligence. They saw Li Wei's silence as a sign of ignorance. They mocked his simple words, his slow responses, and the way he never argued back. But what they didn't see was what lay beneath the surface. Li Wei spent his days observing. While others spoke, he listened. While they competed, he studied. While they rushed to prove themselves, he refined his craft in secret. One day, a great challenge came to the village. A powerful warlord arrived, demanding that the village offer its wisest man to solve a riddle, one that, if answered incorrectly, would mean destruction for them all. The scholars, the self-proclaimed intellectuals, all stepped forward eagerly. They fought over who was the most qualified, who deserved the warlord's attention. But to everyone's shock, the warlord pointed to Li Wei. "You," he said, "the one who never speaks. You will answer." The villagers gasped. They whispered among themselves, convinced they were doomed. How could the fool, the quiet one, possibly save them? But Li Wei simply smiled. He stepped forward, listened carefully to the riddle, and in a single sentence, he solved it. The warlord laughed, impressed. "It is always the quiet ones," he said, "who hold the most power." And just like that, Li Wei was no longer a fool in their eyes. He had always been wise, always been powerful. They had simply been too blind to see it. Imagine walking into a room where no one expects anything from you, where people assume you are insignificant, irrelevant, or even incapable. There is no pressure. No one is watching. No one is guarding their secrets, their strategies, or their weaknesses from you, because in their eyes, you are not a threat. But what they fail to see is that in the shadows, you are preparing, you are watching, you are absorbing everything. Throughout history, some of the greatest minds, those who shifted the course of human progress, were not immediately recognized for their brilliance. In fact, they were often overlooked, dismissed, or even ridiculed. And yet, it was precisely this underestimation that allowed them to rise in silence and strike when no one was ready. Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers of all time, did not parade himself as a man of knowledge. He walked the streets of Athens, asking questions that seemed foolish. He would challenge the wisest men of the city, not by debating them with his own knowledge, but by pretending to know nothing. And yet, through this act, he revealed something profound. Most people are certain of things they do not truly understand. This method, known today as Socratic questioning, exposed the ignorance of others. By allowing himself to be seen as the fool, he gained access to conversations that others would never have. The greatest irony? His ignorance was what made him the wisest of all. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the most brilliant minds in history, understood something that most people still fail to grasp. Intelligence is not about complexity, it is about clarity. He once said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Yet in today's world, people assume complexity is intelligence. They believe that the loudest voice in the room must be the most knowledgeable. They mistake fast-talking confidence for wisdom. They assume that those who hesitate before speaking must be uncertain, when in reality, hesitation is often a sign of deeper thinking. Da Vinci spent years observing the world in silence. He did not rush to prove himself. He let people underestimate him while he meticulously studied nature, anatomy, engineering, and the movement of water. By the time his ideas were revealed to the world, they were so advanced that they seemed almost supernatural. And yet, his power was never in the noise. It was in the silence. If you observe closely, the most powerful people in any field are not the ones constantly talking about their intelligence or broadcasting their abilities. The true masters of any craft operate with quiet confidence. Think of a chess player who never reveals their strategy, a warrior who waits patiently before striking, a business leader who listens more than they speak. There is a reason why the most dangerous predators in nature are silent before they strike. A tiger does not roar before it hunts. It moves quietly, strategically, with precision. It waits for the perfect moment to act, when its prey is completely unaware. Now apply this principle to life. The more you reveal, the more people can prepare for you. The more you talk, the more others can counter your ideas. The more you seek validation, the more control you give away. But when you remain silent, when you let them think they have you figured out, when you allow them to believe you are simple, weak, or incapable, you hold the greatest advantage of all. Most people assume intelligence looks a certain way, They expect it to be loud, assertive, obvious. They are conditioned to believe that wisdom comes with fast answers, big words, and undeniable certainty. But in reality, certainty is often the sign of a closed mind. Those who are truly wise are not in a rush to prove themselves. They are not eager to correct others or argue every point. They do not need to assert dominance in conversation, because they understand that real power is not about proving, it's about knowing. So let them think you're slow, let them assume you are simple, let them believe they are ahead of you, because what they don't realize is that while they are busy showing off, you are watching, learning, preparing. And when the time is right, you will move like the tiger. They will never see it coming. Imagine stepping into a room full of powerful people, confident, self-assured, carrying themselves like they own the space. Their words are deliberate, their presence undeniable. And then there's you, feeling out of place, questioning if you even belong there. Your mind races with doubt. What if they see through me? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? But here's the truth that nobody tells you. Most of them are faking it too. The difference is they've mastered the art of embodying the person they are becoming. This is what fake it till you make it really means. It doesn't mean deception. It doesn't mean pretending to be something you're not. It means stepping into the energy, mindset, and posture of the version of you that you are growing into, long before the world sees it. Most people wait until they feel confident before they act. But the truth is, confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Leonardo da Vinci, before he was known as a genius, was just an apprentice in a workshop. He didn't wait for someone to call him a master. He studied, he worked, and he painted like he already was one. Oprah Winfrey, before she became a media mogul, wasn't the unstoppable force she is today, but she spoke as if she was meant to be heard. She walked into spaces where she wasn't expected to thrive and acted like she belonged. And then there's Socrates, the philosopher who changed the course of human thinking, not by proving how much he knew, but by acting as if he knew nothing. He asked foolish questions, played the role of the ignorant, and in doing so, revealed the ignorance of others. The ones who succeed aren't the ones who wait for confidence to arrive. They become confident by showing up over and over again despite the doubt. They take action as if they already are the person they aspire to be. Why does this work? Because the brain believes what you tell it. When you carry yourself with certainty, when you speak with conviction, when you walk with purpose, your mind registers it as truth, and the world mirrors it back to you. If you slouch, speak hesitantly, and shrink yourself, people will treat you as someone uncertain, someone unworthy of being taken seriously. But if you stand tall, if you speak clearly, if you move with the presence of someone who knows where they are going, people will respond accordingly. Not because you've already made it, but because they assume you must have a reason to be that certain. And here's where it gets even more powerful. When others underestimate you, when they assume you are weak, foolish, or incapable, they give you something invaluable: freedom. The freedom to grow without scrutiny. The freedom to sharpen your mind while no one is watching. The freedom to build something great without the weight of expectations. And when you finally step forward, not as the uncertain version of yourself, but as the person you were always meant to be, it will be undeniable. Because the truth is, fake it till you make it isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about practicing being the person you already are, just not yet revealed to the world. Imagine a quiet figure in the background of a crowded room. The loudest voices dominate the space, boasting, arguing, seeking validation. But this figure, they say nothing. They simply watch. To the untrained eye, they seem irrelevant, perhaps even foolish, but they see what no one else sees. They understand what no one else understands. And when the moment is right, they act, not with noise, not with ego, but with precision. And that one move changes everything. The world is obsessed with displays of intelligence. People scramble to prove they are the smartest, the most capable, the most enlightened. But real wisdom does not seek attention. It does not need validation. It exists in silence, in depth, in patience. And this is why silence is not just a lack of words, it is a strategy. Those who speak the loudest often understand the least. In their rush to be heard, they miss the most important details. But the one who listens, who observes, who waits, gains an advantage that is invisible until it is too late. A wise general does not reveal his plans to the enemy. A chess master does not announce their next move. The tiger does not roar while hunting. It moves in silence, unseen, undetected, until the moment is right, and when it strikes, there is no escape. Let them think you are weak. Let them think you are ignorant. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them bask in their illusion of superiority, because every moment they waste underestimating you is a moment you gain. It is time you can use to grow, to refine, to sharpen yourself into something they will never see coming. Think about the most powerful forces in nature. The river does not announce itself as it carves through stone. The sun does not demand recognition for its warmth. The seed does not boast as it pushes through the soil. And yet, their impact is undeniable. The world rewards patience in ways the impatient will never understand. The problem is that most people cannot resist the urge to be recognized. They want to be seen. They want to be acknowledged. They want their intelligence to be validated. But here is the irony. The moment you need to prove yourself, you become a prisoner to the opinions of others. You become trapped by their expectations, their judgments, their labels. True freedom comes when you no longer care how you are perceived. Most people are desperate to be seen as smart, as capable, as important. But intelligence is not about what you know, it is about what you see. The majority of people do not think deeply. They do not analyze. They do not question. They simply repeat. They assume knowledge without understanding. They mistake confidence for competence. They cling to opinions that are not even their own. And this is why appearing foolish is one of the greatest strategies in existence. Look at history. The ones who were underestimated always held the greatest power. Socrates pretended to know nothing, and through this, he exposed the ignorance of Athens. Lao Tzu spoke in paradoxes, and those who dismissed him failed to grasp the depth of his wisdom. Einstein was ridiculed for his unconventional ideas, until he rewrote the very laws of physics. The fool who is wise is more dangerous than the scholar who is blind. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, spoke of deception as the key to victory. Appear weak when you are strong. Appear disorganized when you are precise. Appear foolish when you are wise. Because the greatest threat is the one no one sees coming. And this is why detachment is the ultimate power. When you no longer seek validation, you are free. When you no longer need to be seen as successful, you stop playing by their rules. When you let go of the illusion of intelligence, you become truly wise. This is not just a tactic, it is a way of life. Some of the most enlightened beings in history were, at first glance, seen as fools. They did not chase approval. They did not seek recognition. They lived from a state of deep understanding, so deeply rooted in truth that the opinions of the world became meaningless. And you have that choice too. Let them think you are simple. Let them believe you have nothing to offer. Let them assume they are ahead of you. And then, when the time is right, let your actions speak so loudly that their words become irrelevant. Because here's what they don't realize. The quiet one in the room is often the one who knows the most. The one who listens is the one who understands. The one who moves in silence is the one who cannot be stopped. There is a moment when everything changes. A shift, when you stop caring how you are perceived. When you stop needing to be understood. When you realize that real power is not in appearances but in awareness. That moment, that is when you become unstoppable. Because in the end, it is not about proving them wrong. It is about knowing the truth for yourself. And once you know the truth, there is nothing left to prove. Let them think you are stupid. Let them believe they have won. And then, when the moment is right, show them what they never saw coming. Not because you need their recognition, not because you need their validation, but because you have already won, long before they ever realized it. And that is the greatest victory of all.